Good morning, everybody. Welcome to a Monday show. Hopefully we'll start the week off right, get everything going pretty good. Hopefully you have your coffee and everything is starting okay. First things first, welcome to the Break the Cycle with DSD podcast, webcast, live show. I'm your host, Duane. I'm not a therapist. I'm an individual much like you who've been through a tough situation. And over the years, I've developed tips and techniques that I use to save my sanity, calm things down, build a better foundation for my life, and take that and use that to undo parental alienation and repair the relationship with my kids. So hopefully I can share that with you and have you do the exact same thing. Now remember, a diagnosis that can only come from a clinical professional in a clinical environment, so don't go throwing around diagnoses terms like my ex is an NPD or BPD or comorbid both and all that kind of stuff. Just be careful doing that. Get you in trouble. You don't want to end up in court and have someone say to you, well, how did you diagnose your ex with this personality disorder? Obviously, if you have one, that's a different story, but most of us don't. If you like what's going on here and you want to support the channel, you can do that by becoming a channel member. Actually, somebody just did that. Scorps Corpse just became a channel member. So thank you so much. That helps the channel. It also gives you cool little badges next to your name, which makes it easier for me to see you. And you can do special emoticons like the boop and the yes and all that kind of good stuff. If you want to get notified via text of when a show goes live, hold on a second, I think I forgot to hit the right button. You can do that by texting DSDLIVE to 844-598-0012, and that will put you on the list for text notifications. And that one did go out this morning because I actually did set it up. Let's see. The phone lines are open today. If you want to dial in and be part of the show, you can do that by calling 1-424-373-5483 or 1-424-DSD-LIVE. If you are outside of the United States, you can use the web interface. Just scroll down into the video descriptions and the show notes, and it will show you the link, and then it will bypass international calling and save you a couple of bucks. And I think that is... Now I got to make sure my buttons are all working. Excuse me. Oh, and they're not. Oh, how this is just outstanding. It appears that, wow, this is weird. I'm buffering and things don't seem to be working right. How awesome is that? Hold on, let's see if I can bypass it. You know, I thought I fixed all that. I thought I had that all working. Let me see if I have anything running in the background that maybe like rendering a video or something. No, it doesn't appear so. So, we'll have to see how this is going to play out today. The other thing I wanted to mention is this also becomes a podcast. So if you are catching this on one of the podcast directories, then thank you for participating and listening to the show via podcast. But if you're not familiar with it, you can find the audio only version. I upload that immediately following the show, and not immediately, but 30 to 40 minutes after the show. I create the show notes and upload that to my podcast source. The You Get to Be You series is still going on. Few more days left. My episode published on Sunday instead of Saturday, so I was incorrect in that. So if you haven't signed up for that, you can do that by going to yougettobeyou.com/Duane. And there's a handful, like three more days left, if I remember correctly. And Veronica is talking about adding an extra bonus just for men. Maybe if I can pull it off, I will will participate in that. I just got to figure out the dates and the times, but you can sign up to get notifications of that by yougettobeyou.com/Duane. On that, two quick announcements. First, had a big boost over the weekend. So if you happen to be one of the new people who just recently found the channel, thanks for checking us out. And if you're watching this live show, thanks for checking out a live show. That also, let me see if I can pull this up. This happened over the weekend. Let me see if I can do it. Whoops, I'm hitting the wrong button. I'm trying to zoom this in. I broke 30,000 So I'm now at the big 3-0, I guess. So that was pretty cool. So that was a long time coming. So that's a cool milestone to go. So thanks everybody for supporting the channel and being a part of this community. I still am very grateful that I feel like I have one of the best communities on YouTube. Now I got to make sure I don't jinx things, because every time that happens, it's like, oh really? Let's have some trolls come in. So, but if we do have trolls, if I remember correct, unless the text was not correct, moderator Debbie is here. So, oh geez, I almost forgot. Spiritually Empowered Coaching and I are doing a collaboration tomorrow. Let's see if this will scroll up. So Leslee, let me hit the right button, has, where's my little picture? There we go. Has been doing a series on Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, deep dive going into like when it was going through the court cases, going through the information, the audio, what was happening in the transcripts, and has been doing a really good analysis of this whole thing. And tomorrow we are going to spend tomorrow's show discussing Amber Heard, Johnny Depp, and how Amber could potentially be an undiagnosed person with a personality disorder. We in that story, you got not necessarily parental alienation, but you definitely have smear campaigns. You definitely have flying monkeys. You have crazy making behavior, just all kinds of just perfect examples to really drive home the point of some seriously toxic behavior. So make sure you set your calendars and your notifications for that so you can catch us tomorrow. The other thing on this is later today, as you can see in here, on her side and on my side, we've been asking for if there's any specific issues or questions or topics on that you would like us to go over. Obviously, in an hour, we're not going to be able to go over everything, but if there is something, please just leave a comment on the in the community tab. You can get to that just by going to the DSD or Dad's Fighting Divorce channel on YouTube. Go to the tab, the community tab, scroll down, find this post, and just add your comment there. Like I said, later today we'll be taking those and putting those in a list so we can hit tomorrow's show and start going through all those. And depending on what happens, I would assume we might either do a follow-up. Probably not wouldn't be this week, but we might do some other stuff. And obviously she will be continuing to do more on that until the first court case is done. Because then if I remember correctly, there's a second court case. So definitely come and check that out tomorrow. I'm excited for that. We've been trying to do that for a while. So I just had to spend a couple of weeks troubleshooting my computer to get it working. And then I started this show this morning and it was doing weird stuff. So, but I think I figured everything out the last 3 days. So, oh, Shane says Johnny Depp is pretty creepy though. That is true. He's a unique character. But I tell you what, Shane, if you have some questions for us you'd like us to hit more focused, or not focused on, but addressing that, just put that in the comments in that other video. Don't do it here, guys. If you do it here, unless Debbie catches it or if Leslee catches it, it's probably going to get lost. Going back through the chat is kind of complicated. It's not like you can just pull it out easily unless there's a way that someone out there knows how to do it that I don't. And but if you put it in the other thing, then that's where I'm going to go look for it. So let me reset everything. So let me check through the comments. Actually, I didn't really have a big plan for today. Debbie and I did some running around this weekend. I got to meet I guess I got to meet one of her old friends that over the last 6.5 years we've been dating. Never been able to facilitate making that happen. And fortunately, yesterday we got to do that. So that was kind of cool. And then I got to meet one of her cousins and go visit some of her family. So that was neat. So not. I guess what am I trying to say? I guess it's just got home late and just did not come up with a topic for today. So we'll just have to wing it, which is fine. We do that all the time. I do that all the time. All right, let me look through the comments and see where we are. I'm gonna scroll back up here. Let's see. Oh man, we got people from all over. I guess while I'm doing that, just again, if you don't mind, if you could put at least a country where you're from. If you want to put a more local area, that's fine. If not, just that's fine. But I know a few people. I can see some people from the UK and Canada and stuff. So I know we got a few people all over the world again. But it's always fun to see that. Oh, I do see a few new names. So let's see. I'm looking. Okay, maybe I tell you what. And the other thing I want to ask is anybody who is new, just found the show because of the You Get to Be You series. Just say, let's see. I don't know. You get to be you. Just put that on there and just an exclamation point so that I know you came in from there. All right. So thank you guys for the well wishes on the subscriber count. That's pretty cool. Oh, John Boston, I got to grab this one. It says, DSD, I remember when you had less than 2,500 subs. What's so funny about this is I remember starting out and it seemed like, it seemed like 10,000 would be just like, holy cow. And then 20,000 and 30,000. And it's just, things have slowed down. So it's going to take a while. I'm going to be at 30 for a while, but that's cool. It's nice to be at 30. I guess the one weird part is for a while there, YouTube had it set up that you couldn't do certain features until you hit 30, but then they started rolling them out. So all the stuff I was waiting for 30 actually happened early. So that was kind of cool. All right. I see the UK. I see some people are seeing that. Florida. Northwest of Ireland, Anaheim, California. Man, I hope you, Anaheim, are not getting, well, I know you probably are because I know I am getting just nailed by the smoke. Boston, Calgary, another Ireland, Texas, Canada, PA, New York, Ohio. Thanks, guys. That's cool. It's always neat to. I was watching this other guy the other day. I don't know how to do this, but he's written a script that it captures it and it plots everybody's things like on a big Google Calendar. So whenever he starts the show, it's like, hey, where's everybody from? And it starts going blip, 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 blip. It doesn't do the noise. That's just me making, sound effects. But I'll have to see if I can figure that out. That was pretty cool. But he wrote some code to like parse the chat and then create this graphic. It was like, holy heck, that's pretty cool. Oh, speaking of that, I just got to throw this out there before I jump into some of the topics. Is I put in the community tab the other day a question asking for any Unix person that could help me parse a file. One person threw something out there that freaking sparked a memory, and I was able to use some Unix command line tools to parse the member list. So I can just grab the file or copy it because there's no way to export it because why Google, YouTube, come on, that's something that. Anyways, but one little line of code will take that input file and spit it out and just spit out the names. It's amazing. I knew there was a way to do it. I just couldn't remember how to do it. Okay. All right. I'm looking at this and, oh, cool. A few people do. So you get to be you. Awesome. Well, hey, thanks, Casey. Casey Denise from that. Thank you for checking us out. I appreciate it. So I'm gonna roll up here because there was one question that's a good topic. Where is it? I got to figure out where it is. Where? And I see some people answered it. Okay, Anders. Hey guys, just so you know, I'm not great with names, and when I look, sometimes my eyes flip out. So if I mess your name up, I apologize. But Anders says, how do you deal with the silent treatment? Well, I think the first thing on that is you have to recognize that it is a silent treatment. And since you're already seeing that, that's a good first step. And the reason I say that is because as soon as you realize, oh man, this person is intentionally doing this to screw with me. They're doing it to punish me. They're doing it to punish you. They're doing it to try to get you to chase them. Could be that they're trying to get you to back off, right? So basically, they're doing it for malintent. That's really important to remind yourself of that. So you remember what you're dealing with, right? Because oftentimes what happens when we don't is you're chasing the person and you're like, hey, what's wrong? Let's talk about this. And they're just continuing to basically just double and triple down on that. And here's the reality, Anders. Most of the time, not always, but most of the time, if you start to go no contact, and there's a difference between no contact and the silent treatment. No contact is whenever you're like, this person is toxic to me, and I need to take some steps to protect myself, and I'm going to do this no contact thing to try to minimize the pain and the frustration to me. It's done for constructive means to keep your sanity. Whereas a silent treatment, like I said earlier, is for punishment. So sometimes people will say, oh, I'm doing, they're doing no contact or whatever. It's like the bottom line is it's the underlying intent. Silent treatments is to punish somebody. No contact is to save yourself. So the way you deal with that after you recognize what it is you don't respond to it. Actually, I saw Merge had said, Anders, my opinion into your question, remain silent and keep your rights and sanity. Man, that's basically it. What you want to do is not take their bait. Remember that a narcissistic, toxic person needs you to chase them, needs your attention. It doesn't have to be positive attention. It just has to be them. It has to be them making you respond so that they know that they still have control over your emotions. Doesn't have to be great. They're not necessarily looking at it for you to go, oh, you're the greatest person ever. I'm so lucky to have you. It's just to know that they can go boop right in your eye and get you to have a response or to even go from a good mood to a bad mood. If you're with the person, I'm sure most people can relate to this. If you're in a situation where you're with a person and for whatever reason, it seems like, hey, if I'm in a good mood or I had a good day at work, something goes wrong and I'm dealing with a catastrophe at home, it's part of that whole manipulation. And oftentimes a silent treatment will be a method that they will use. It's a very easy method, right? Because all I have to do is not respond to you and just pretend like you're not there. And it drives you crazy. Oh, I see some of the members doing the boop thing. Thank you, guys. Yeah, see, if you become a channel member, you can do cool emojis like the custom boop, which is my big finger poking you in the eye or poking the camera with the word boop. That's pretty funny. Oh, cool. We got moderator Lyle here too. So awesome. I need to give him a call. I'll probably try to do that later today. That's a heads up, Lyle. Okay. Let me scroll back down because I missed some of what's going on. And as I think someone asked a question about calling in, I think, but I'm trying to see if I can find that. Oh, this is interesting. I'm going to grab this. Cameron Myers says, morning, have you ever booped yourself because of how exhausting this can be? Yeah, actually, I would say yes. I think sometimes we get into our own little self-destructive behaviors, and I would absolutely consider that where you're just booping yourself in the eye. I know for me, when I get run down and tired and sick, so those three things, and I'll tell you it seems like I'm always tired anyways, but last week trying to troubleshoot this stupid computer problem was really wearing me down. And then add in when the winds shifted and the smoke from the latest fire, actually there was one over in the Antelope Valley that just freaking blew way over here, and it was making my eye hurt. It was making my cheek hurt. It was not fun. So when that happens, it's like my energy level completely crashes. And I start getting into these destructive, mindsets. It's like, I just need to take a break and either try to get in the area where I can breathe better, I guess. But Yeah, I think that a lot of us do get into that mode to where we boop ourselves, Cameron. I'm not sure if that's what you meant, but that's what I read from that. And that's, yeah, I would say yes. I think that's very common. And before I move on, I just want to say you have to be aware of a lot of the nuances of the person, your toxic antagonist, and you also have to be really aware of your own responses and where you are mentally. Like the person before who was asking about the silent treatment, that's why it's super important to be in the mode or be to where you can recognize this stuff and kind of control your own responses and where you are mentally, or at least be able to say, "Oh crap, I'm having a bad day. When I have a bad day, this is typically what's happens, and this is what's happening," and then have the things you typically can do to help break you out of it. Sometimes for me, it's lately it's like even playing a round or two of Fortnite, which I didn't think I would get involved in that, but it's a way to kind of like just distract me and get me depending on how I do in the game, I guess. Or then maybe watching a YouTube video or a training video or just something to kind of like, okay, you know what? I need to hit the reset button. The quickest way to do that is to put like a command line interrupt in my own head to get me to stop dwelling on whatever it is that I'm currently ruminating about or spinning out of control on. Oh, Casey says, can I call and, this is what I was looking for. Can I call and ask about MPD and someone you considered your best friend? Absolutely. Go ahead, Casey. 1-424-373-5483. Not a problem. Oh, just for the new people, and if you came from the You Get to Be You series, and I think this was covered, but I am not a men's only channel. This channel is for anybody who is dealt with a toxic ex with kids. Obviously, I'm a guy, and I do it from a male perspective, but personally, I think that it's good to have a community of both men and women who have been targets of this, who can see that, hey, you know what? It's not just all men are bad or all women are bad, that that there are toxic narcissistic people out there who follow the same patterns of behavior. And it doesn't matter whether they're a guy or girl, they do it. They tend to follow the same darn patterns. All right, let me scroll down some more. So I'll wait. If that call comes in, I will take that. And anybody else who wants to call in, be my guest. Speaking of call-ins, probably tomorrow. I don't think we're going to do call-ins just because I don't think we're going to have time. So just heads up on that. That's why it's really important if you have a specific you want to deal with, send it in early, or obviously when during the live show, put it in there and we can try to address that as it's happening. Let's see. Oh, okay. Never losing hope says, yes, Chris Godinez, who you guys know, I love Chris, made a video about this yesterday. My ex does this, then I call too much, etc. And then those are the points in his favor. So it's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous dynamic. Yeah, absolutely. Did I not put that on the screen? Sorry, I thought I did that. Okay, cool. A caller is coming in, so I'll grab that here in a moment. Oh yeah, and never losing hope says, I've taken so much bait over the years. I think we all get into that mode. I mean, I know I did. Oh my gosh, I took so much bait. Bape. What the hell's bape? Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna scroll down here real quick, and where'd the comment thing go? So I'll go ahead and grab the caller in area code 254. The one thing I just want to say before we jump on is unless you want your name on here, don't use your real name. Make up a handle. That's perfectly fine. And hello and welcome to the show.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Good morning to you. How are you?
I'm great.
So what did you want to talk about?
I wanted to start with, I wanted to start with how you said you can't really diagnose somebody with it, but I'm thinking about my toxic best friend that I had, and she checks off all the marks of narcissism. So I'm like, wow.
Yeah,
I was dealing with a narcissist.
Yeah.
Idea.
Yeah, the reason I say that is especially if you're dealing with family court and stuff. If you start going around throwing those terms, you can really hurt your own credibility because somebody at one point is going to say, "Really, how do you know? I mean, did they tell you? Did you get the information?" But isn't it so tough though? Whenever you have somebody, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead and say that again.
Oh, I said I would say information off the internet.
Yeah, I got my degree off the internet. No, I was going to say, but isn't it just crazy how you have somebody like you were talking about with your best friend, and it's like one day you wake up and you realize, holy crap, this toxic behavior is systemic. It just doesn't end, and it's like everything starts to come clear. Have you finally just broke off contact with this person, or are you limiting, or how are you dealing with that?
Oh, yes, sir. I have gotten out of my old town that I lived in because, well, here's what happened is she always had the rage, and so it was never directed at me, and I would always see that person, oh, that's just her, like she freaked out and,
Yeah.
all that stuff. And then finally it was towards me, and she ended up punching me in the face twice.
Wow.
And then saying that she didn't remember doing that. And then the next morning saying she didn't remember, and then apologizing, and then acting like nothing happened. And I was like, wow. So I guess it took me getting punched in the face to realize that my friend was a narcissist. But
it's really crazy, right? And I think it's weird because I think all of us go through this phase where we see who they are, but for whatever reason, we're either a flying monkey for them or we're just under the spell. And it's not until that rage is directed at us where we go, oh my God, this is really something seriously wrong here. And it's sad, but sometimes it takes something drastic like what you went through to finally be that wake up call to say, oh crud, there's more going on than I really thought.
yeah, and I'm doing no contact with her. And last Friday, she called me 35 times and actually called my best friend, which is my actual best friend, who's not a narcissist, was calling her and then trying to get her to turn against me for some reason.
Oh, that's normal.
Saying, oh, come on, Casey. I know you can't hate me that bad.
Well, and they have a tendency, like what you just said. I mean, they try to recruit people around you. They try to undermine your support system, and then they try to shame you and guilt you into to lowering your boundaries. I mean, the reality is, and it sounds like you know this, it's like you finally get it. You've put up a boundary or you're setting up boundaries to protect yourself, and you're like, okay, I just can't allow this in my life. But unfortunately, it's probably she'll keep doing that type of stuff for a while until either nobody is responding to her and she'll move on, or it's just going to be one of those things you're just going to have to deal with for a while until she finds another person to focus on. But you said you moved out of town, so it's probably a little bit easier now.
Yes, and she like I said, I don't see a lot of stuff about like best friends on the internet. And so I've been watching a lot of relationship stuff, and it's kind of like we kind of were in a relationship. I mean, she was my best friend for 5 years, and I grew up with her son, and she's using her son against me, and then using my son to try to draw me in back to her. Like, oh, I missed your son, and my son asked about you, and it's wondering how you're doing. And I'm like, I can't do that. And she knows that she's tugging on my heartstrings for that one.
No, and you made a great point that, I mean, a lot of the channels and the information is really based towards romantic relationships, but it's all, I mean, okay, obviously there's a little bit of difference. Well, not a little bit, but I mean, there's nuances when it's an actual romantic relationship. But honestly, the behaviors are all the same. They do the same things. It doesn't matter whether it's your best friend, it's your boss at work, you're a parent or a sibling, or an ex-spouse or boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever the deal is. They all tend to go down the same path. So at least the information that you've been gleaning all pertains, right? I mean, sure, it helps you.
Oh, yes. The rage was the first thing that got me onto watching all these videos and stuff, because I was like, okay, well, she checks that off. What else does she check off? And I just went on a deep dive on YouTube, and I was like, holy crap.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, well, yeah, I just wanted to get y'all's opinion on that because, I mean, it's hard. You know, I know she's probably going to do a lot more to try to get my attention, and I just need to stay strong with the whole no contact because I've seen how she is with other people, and she goes low, like below the belt. So I'm just waiting for that to happen whenever that is.
Yeah, what I would recommend, I don't know, I don't know if you've seen it. I have a video. Actually, I didn't want to go there. On my channel, on the YouTube channel, if you scroll down to the section on not rebuilding your relationship. Hold on, I'm trying to bring it up. It's called absolute thinking. It's if you go to the main YouTube channel, you scroll down. If my computer will actually start working, it's under the mindset for narcissistic abuse recovery playlist. It's the second video, absolute thinking for recovery. And it's just a way to keep reminding yourself that when stuff happens, that you're dealing with a narcissist. Now, I know in the beginning part of this, I say, be careful diagnosing, but when you're doing it when you're with just yourself, then you almost need to. You need, well, not almost, you absolutely do. It's like, she's MPD. If she went and got a diagnosis, that's exactly what it would be. I'm dealing with this. These are the type of behaviors that are going to happen, and I need to prepare myself, which is what you're doing. But it's tough a lot of times because, you just was like, especially when they're tugging at the heartstrings, you can start second guessing yourself and go, well, we've been friends for so long. My kid, my son likes his son. I mean, is it really that bad? I mean, the fact that you got punched in the face, I mean, at least you got that in your, I hate to say it, in your favor, but I mean, that's a really good reminder that, hey, something's wrong, because a real friend is not going to do something like that, right?
Exactly. And I just had to keep reminding myself, like, oh, because I mean, it's only been, I'd say like a month and a half since all this went down. And so I'm still like, I wouldn't think I'd be grieving, but I'm in the grieving stage still.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, I definitely see you doing that. Yeah. Well, it was a best friend. I mean, in a lot of ways, a best friend is different than, is even stronger than a romantic relationship, because, I mean, it's like you're best friends, right? You share everything, that they're there for you. You're there for them. It's somebody you can really count on, and it doesn't have the weird dynamics of a romantic relationship, but it's the same. It's a really deep connection still. I mean, so it's absolutely going to be hard, and it is going to be sad. So, I mean, what you're feeling is absolutely normal on that.
Well, I'm definitely going to have to look up that video. You said it was absolute thinking.
Yes. Yeah, and just
okay. Well,
check it out.
I'm gonna probably look at that.
All right. Well, hey, thank you for calling. I appreciate it, and hopefully that was helpful. And I see a lot of people in the comments are talking to you too, so I'm sure that's helping with your own validation and just feeling like you understand what you're dealing with, and you're getting positive feedback, hopefully, on it.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for accepting my call.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I have new friends.
Yep.
So, woo-hoo.
All right. Talk to you later. It's crazy. Well, not crazy. In some ways, I think I'm kind of glad that they all follow the same patterns, right? Because take this, you got a person who isn't in a romantic relationship, so they're not searching on, why is my husband or why is my boyfriend do this, this, and this, or why is my girlfriend do this, this, and this, and finding this. You're having a friend who's doing all this toxic stuff, and you're like, holy cow, what's happening? And it's interesting because I fell into the trap. I hate to even say it because I'm very disappointed in myself that I fell for this, but there were highly toxic narcissists at work. And I would make excuses for them when they would do stuff. I would, like, oh, well, this isn't really what they meant. They're just blowing off steam. It's not like this. I mean, I did that so much. And I mean, I remember people looking at me that I was friends with who were just like, dude, you're nuts. And I would be trying to convince them, hey, it's not that bad. It's just because it was like, well, everything sucks and everyone's, this is normal. So we just have to deal with it. We just have to make our peace with it. And I fell into that trap. For a couple of them, I mean, I really had to get beat down to the point where I just couldn't do it anymore. And I had them I had one guy who he did stuff to me that could have, I mean, was trying to potentially accuse me of doing stuff that was illegal. That was him. It was projection onto me. And even then it was like, I got my little support group lined up. So I was like, okay, if he tries to go this route, I can protect myself. But I still was in his camp. I was still like, okay. I mean, and part of it was I'm a very structured thinking person. So this person was my boss. I always took it as my job was to support the boss. So that's what I'm doing to the best of my ability. And that's what I was doing. But I mean, I did that. I found myself making excuses for toxic people a lot. And then it's tough, whenever, and it sounds like the caller was going through the same thing. And it really hurts. It's like when you finally realize you feel used, you feel manipulated because we were. And then you feel stupid because it's like, oh my God, how did I do that? How could I have even done that? How could I have defended this person? And unfortunately, I wasn't punched in the face, but geez, sometimes it would made it easier if it was like, oh, geez, how that hurt. Okay, I see there's a question from Shane. Let me see if I can find this. Where is it? Man, I think I missed that way up top. If I cannot find, there it is. Okay. Shane says, Duane, question. My ex has been going out of her way to have personal contact and conversations with me lately during drop off and pickup. All things that can easily be text or emailed. Thoughts? What I do on that, or when that happened to me, man, it's so amazing how they all follow the same tricks, the same patterns of behavior. So what I did on that, man, is one, drop-offs. It was all, for me, I got it set up to where it's all drop-offs, right? So you drive up, the kids get out of the car, they run in, and hopefully everybody's in before the ex can come out. And then the next thing is they come out to talk about something, just say, hey, I got to go. Just send me an email or text or use our family wizard and just minimize it. And more than likely, if you do that, they're going to be like, well, why can't we just talk now? You don't care about the kids. Why, this is so important. Why can't we just do this? You are a bad person because you won't, whatever. They're going to use the standard shaming tactics and all that stuff to try to get you to say, yeah, okay, all right. So Shane, the deal is if you don't want to do it, make up an excuse why you can't. Hey, I can't really talk. Got to go. I'm running late I got to meet somebody. I got something, someplace I have to be. Sorry, can't talk. Send me an email. That's fine. I'll reply to it later when I'm back. That's interesting. That is my thought on that. And keep in mind, guys, that when you start setting up boundaries and you start doing stuff like this, they are absolutely going to try to push it. And it'll be like, well, I don't want to send email. I only want to talk in person. I mean, that's what, it was funny because mine, when we got to that point where I realized, okay, we can't talk on the phone anymore because there's no record of it, or in person, because the story gets distorted and there's no record of what's happened. So I started using, I'm like, no, I'm only going to use email. And then she was like, well, I'm not going to use email. We're only going to talk in person or talk on the phone. And it was like, well, no, we're not. And it was just kind of a stalemate. All right. Oh, Cameron says, I wish I could call in. Phone is off. I think that's what you were saying towards me. Remember, you can use the web interface. That also works in the United States. So if you, but then again, you have to have a computer and you would have to have headphones and a microphone. John says, Duane, my ex did the avoidance thing when she lied to get her restraining order and kept the kids from me for 20 months. That forced separation has really hurt me and the kids. Selfish. Yeah, but see, and what's I mean, for people who've been around and heard John's story, he ultimately was able to turn things around. It's just a lot of times it takes a lot of time. All right, let me scroll back down here. Let's see what else we got going on. It gets ridiculous. It actually does. All right. I'm trying to scan the comments to see if, oh, and if you guys want to get my attention, make sure you just do, you'll see some people do at and then someone's name. What happens on that is it highlights the person in orange, so it makes it easier to see. It doesn't actually work in the system that I use that processes the text to let me, or the messages to let me put them on screen. It doesn't do it as a color, which is really annoying. It'd be nice if it did, but I do have a smaller little window that I can see that. Lyle says, "Love the voices." You guys know me and my voices. I like to deal with that. Oh yeah, Volser says X gets angry that I don't open messages the seconds after she sends them in Family Wizard. But that makes absolute sense because they want a reaction. They want you to be not beholden to them, but to respond. And they want to know that they can reach out and tap you. Guys, that's the reason why texting and phone calls are a bad idea. You do not want your ex to have direct contact to wherever you are to be able to send a message that's going directly to you. You want a buffer. Our Family Wizard is great because you'll get if I remember correctly, you get the email notification that something's come in, but it's not right in your face. It's not like you pick up your phone and you have that preview message of what's being sent right now, because so you can decide if you really want to look at it. Like the last thing you need to be, I was talking to a gentleman the other day who was in the middle of a business call and something happened and they're like, oh my God, their mindset is just going down the tubes in the middle of it. You want to be able to say, okay, for this period of time, they do not have direct access to me. Really, really important. All right, I do have another call. I'm going to grab them, area code 816. Hello and welcome to the show.
Hey, Duane, this is Will. How you doing, sir?
Hey, Will, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing all right. I just wanted to talk about, I guess the term is crazy making.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure if you've used that before, or obviously you're familiar with it, but had an interesting little occurrence last week. So we split custody 50-50, and then on the week where the parent does not have the kid, we came up with a little thing where, okay, so like Wednesday or Thursday, that parent can come get them and take them out to dinner or whatever.
Okay.
So okay, that's good. So her day was Thursday. I had the kids last week. Her day is Thursday. Thursday, and typically it's like at 6.
Okay.
Thursday at like 4 o'clock, she texts, can you get the kids? Okay, all right, whatever, and in the past I would have really got mad at that, that last minute text, but that's kind of how she operates.
Yeah.
Changes things up at the last minute and then expects the whole world to shift with her last minute change.
Oh, yeah.
Like, okay, so that happened. All right. So then at probably 5:10, 5 o'clock, somewhere around there, okay, I can't get the kids.
Oh, God.
All right. Now, I didn't respond to the first text. I didn't respond to the second text. Okay, so,
good.
All right, you can get the kids. So, I moved a little further away, so I have to go, there's another drop-off spot or pickup spot at my other house where my sister lives. So I'll go there and she'll come pick the kids up from there.
Right.
So I just drive to my sister's house and we're waiting there. And in between that drive, the ex texts like 3 or 4 times. So am I getting the kids? What? Okay, that's all right. And didn't respond to that. Please just respond. I need to know if that works for you. Like, what? Okay. And then there's another one, just let me know if I'm getting the kids. Now, and I may be off base here, and that's kind of why I wanted to call. In my mind, okay, so the day is Thursday. You said you couldn't get the kids, and then you said you could get the kids. That last, I can get the kids. Okay, so then you can get the kids. Like, there's nothing else that needs to be said in there. Like, the last thing that was, I can get the kids. Okay, so then everything's back to normal. For her to ask me, does that work for you? Like, just let me know if that works for you. Like, what do you mean, does it work for me? Like, it's your day.
Right.
You said you can get the kids, just come get them. So I was kind of going in my head, like, what? That doesn't, why are you, why are you coming up with these extra steps?
But think about it, man. And this will hopefully make it clear as mud. They like chaos, right? So they're going to try to find chaos in anything that's possible. Now, the reality is probably the first text wasn't necessarily legit, and you didn't respond. So it's like, oh, okay, well, normal. And it was just to try to create chaos. Now, probably on that, especially when she started saying more and more stuff, just say, I mean, if you really want to kind of just be, if you really wanted to play back, which I don't necessarily encourage, but I would have done one of two things. I would have done what you, like, ignored the first part. Okay, fine. The second part, I probably would have done the same thing. And then whenever she sent the last email, like, hey, is this going to work? I would have said, oh yeah, I didn't even see your other email. I just assumed everything was on. And, yeah, no, it's all good. Or you can just say, yes, it's good. Or just, you know what I mean? Just keep it really terse and simplify your response. But the reality is she's looking for chaos. And that's what that whole thing was to set up. Now, as you were saying that, I was remembering in my situation, my ex-husband was notorious for when the kids would come over, I would make a meal, right? It's like, okay, you're coming over at 6. I've made dinner. You walk in. Hey, let's have dinner. Oh, we already ate. And then I'm like, okay, fine. Okay. So she's going to play that game. So the next time I wouldn't make anything, and then they would, I would have eaten earlier or whatever. And then they come in and like, oh my God, we're starving. And I'm like, are you effing kidding me? And then the ex even tried to use that. Like, at one point when I was still trying to talk to her, I was like, hey, can we figure something out here? Cause this is a pain. And no response, just, I'm sure she had a little, if anybody's watching this on video, a little head up and, I'm not talking to you, that type of crap. And what I finally did is I basically, because later, like about a year later, she's like, oh, well, we need to talk and decide how we're going to do the food so that, let's make a plan. And I'm like, you know what? You do whatever the hell you want. I can figure it out. So it's like, you know what? Right. The quickest thing in the world is spaghetti, right? I mean, it's like, hey, the kids walk in and they don't have anything. I can have the water boiling, right? It's like, all right, hey, oh, okay, you didn't eat? Well, boom, great, we can do it. Because I'm like, I'm not playing your game. And that's what it is. She's playing a game. And, I mean, on that, if you just want to stop it, just whenever she was sending you those other texts, is this good? You just say, yeah, we're good. You know what I mean? And and
that's,
go ahead.
And that's what I ended up doing after the third text. I just said the kids are waiting. Again, it's something, and it's one of those where you don't realize that you went through that sort. Going back to the crazy making, where you went through that for so long. It's like, wow, that's like I remember that.
Yep.
Like, here's a situation that gets presented, and then here's a situation, then they change the situation.
Yep.
But then, like you said, create like chaos around the change, and the change itself sometimes is chaos. Like, why are we changing this at the last minute?
Oh yeah.
And then like, what we had all this worked out, and now you're changing all these things, and okay, so and then there's chaos around that change. It's just it's weird. And I was able to recognize it. It still baffles me how, again, like after 2 years, there's like these little bitty things that they'll try to do. And if you try to talk to someone else about this stuff that is not familiar, they'll look at you like you're the crazy one.
Oh, of course.
Like, well,
yeah.
It's just mind blowing,
dude. I mean, honestly, if I wasn't, an expert in this crap, and we just met and you were telling me that, I probably would be thinking to myself, hey, dude, I mean, come on. What are you just, you're just ignoring her just to ignore her? Something happened. She's giving you a heads up that she wasn't gonna be able to make it. Then she got it figured out. Why are you being such a, an ass, right? It's like, but people don't get it. You're telling it to me and I'm like, oh, I know exactly what's going on. It's like, okay, oh, cool. I know you have to, and then when you say that there's a whole other thing you have to do to make it happen, of course, right? Throw that bomb in there, completely mess your schedule up. Now you're like, oh crap, now you have to feed the kids. You have to figure something out. And then to undo that at the last minute again. Oh yeah, that's standard freaking behavior. But you're right. Try to explain that to someone else who doesn't get it, and you'll look like a knucklehead.
Oh yeah. And I actually took a moment. I've been trying to do this a little bit more of like, pat myself on the back or whatever. Like that's a small little win. Like, okay, I did not react in this situation, because when she said that she couldn't make it, I'm like, okay, well, that means I got to start making dinner now.
Yep.
Okay. So I started making dinner, and then, 30 minutes or 20 whatever minutes into that, oh, I can make it. Well, okay, well, I'll stop this.
Yeah.
I'll finish this and eat it later or whatever.
Right. And let me just throw that out there, guys. And I mean, you brought up a good point. Try to have stuff in your back pocket that when they play these stupid games, that you can adapt to it and not, don't give them a victory, right? Don't even, you don't even want to say, hey, okay, fine. I'm making dinner and now you're doing it. Now I'm wasting all this. Don't get into that discussion with them. Just adapt around it. Like what you're saying, it's like, okay, I made this. All right. Now you're doing this. Okay. So I'll put it away or whatever it is, or save it for later or, I mean, honestly, like what I started to do, like I mentioned, I had things set up, or it would be like a crock pot thing. So it's like, okay, so they come over, they can eat. And if they don't eat, then we have food for the next day because it's leftovers and stuff. I mean, it's just, you have to adapt to them and minimize your responding to them, because it will drive you, otherwise it'll drive you crazy. Oh my God, we're running out of time. Holy cow. Hey, thanks, man, for calling in with that. And you handled it fine. I hope that what I just said, when I was giving some thoughts on that, you don't think that I'm criticizing you, because I think you did an outstanding job on that.
Oh, no, not at all. And thank you very much for taking my call. I appreciate it. And I hope you have a great rest of your day, sir.
You too, man. Thanks for calling in. Yeah, I was just looking at the clock. I'm like, holy crap, time's flying by. Man, it's just, again, and we talked about this at the top of the hour, they are trying to get a response, right? I mean, like taking his story, that initial thing was to set in motion all that stuff, and to even try to cause an argument. More than likely, she was probably expecting, hey, look, I got to make dinner. I mean, what's going on? Some type of reaction. And the reason that it undid it is because there was no reaction. There was no back and forth. So like, well, okay, crap. Well, that didn't work. So I'll just show up, because now, it's been enough time to set a whole nother direction in motion, motion in direction, whatever. And then, okay, now let's reset it. We're going back to the other thing. Everybody out, if you're at the early stages of this, just be prepared for that, because that type of stuff is more than likely going to happen. And you just need to mentally prepare yourself for this crazy making, and to make sure that you don't take the bait, you don't respond unless you absolutely have to, like in this situation, especially when there's kids involved and stuff like that. It makes it a lot more complicated. And just be like, okay, all right, I'm going to work around it. Minimize the communication. Like the gentleman said, he ultimately did say, yeah, we're fine. Yeah, fine. We're waiting. So anyways, let me see what we got going on in the comments real quick. So then we'll wrap things up. Let's see. Oh my gosh, I see percentages. What's that all about? Oh, this is good. John says, DSD, downplaying what they do and did and letting them think they won is how I handle it. Then the more they do, the more the actions are ignored and have no effect on me. Right there, what John just said, on the bottom of the screen if you're watching the video, that's the key, guys. And I'll tell you, for me in the beginning part about this, allowing her to think she was winning on anything was something that I was so irritated at that I wouldn't generally do. So I was taking the bait, and it took me a while to come to that realization. And sometimes it's like, you know, letting them think that they are winning just so that they don't ramp things up can be helpful. What I would not recommend, though, is don't get in the mode where you're constantly trying to think about them, constantly trying to figure out how to respond to play that. Just minimize it. The goal is to get them out of your head and out of your mind as much as possible, as quickly as possible. Let's see here. I guess you guys like my I'm not talking to you thing. That's pretty funny. Down the rabbit hole, True Seeker says 80% is protection and 20% hunting for supply. Bait and bash you so that they can play the victim from your reaction. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, she in that last story, that person so wanted that text diatribe so they could share it with their friends and show how much of a scumbag there is. Oh man, Shane says to G, my ex is the queen of last minute changes and telling the kids about plans that are not cleared by me first. Always puts me in a bind or double bind with my children, and then they resent me. Oh, that is so common, and it's a tough one. And you know, it's hard to see that and not take the bait. Again, I'll try to wrap this one up real quick on this thought. The best way to deal with that is look at the situation. Well, look at the situation and say, what decision can I make that works okay for me and for the kids, right? So if it's like a special event or something, and it's like, oh, Daddy, we're going to get to see so-and-so this weekend. And you're like, that's my weekend, you know, then you have to make the decision can you accommodate that? And is that the best decision for you and the kids? Caveat with that is this: if you're dealing with custody issues and it's trying to take time away from you, then that might not be the best decision. And you might have to take that bait and make that decision to complicate things because of that. Now, workaround on that could be like, hey, no problem. You know, hey, Missy, if that's your ex, okay, I hear that you want to have the kids for this other day. If I'm good with it if we do a swap. You give me this day to swap that time, and we're good to go. Normally, most court orders have that in there. So that's the way to quickly try to deal with that. Let me see. I'm looking at some of the other comments. Oh, this is good. Scorps Corp says, it legit doesn't end until you stop playing. And even then, they are still trotting along, playing along like I've been there all along. Absolutely. Unfortunately, they do not stop. Cameron says, okay, need boop and crazy making merch. That's funny. I actually did have some boop merch for a while, but I finally took it off because it wasn't working. And but maybe I have to relook at that. Anyways, all right, let's see. I move my buttons around so it makes things complicated. Okay, guys, remember tomorrow, Leslee Powers from Spiritually Empowered Coaching will be here, and we will be talking about Amber Heard and the Amber Heard Johnny Depp situation. Again, if you want to leave questions for it, you can pre-send those in either by on Leslee's Twitter page, Spiritually Empowered Coaching, or going to the community tab on my channel and putting the information or putting a question in on that one thing. If you scroll back at the beginning of the video, there'll be a link on that. Let me see if I can remember where all my buttons are. Let's see. Guys, thanks for hanging out with me on this Monday. I really appreciate the people calling in, the new channel member. It's always good to have real stories where people are dealing with something and we can use that as the actual example of what we're talking about. I think it really is helpful. So thank you guys so much for doing that. I appreciate it. To all the new people on the channel, thanks so much. Like I mentioned, broke 30,000. That's pretty amazing. So thank you guys so much for that. And I will be back here tomorrow at 6 a.m. You can sign up for the text notification so you don't miss that. Again, there's notes in the description on that. So I also want to say thank you so much to the channel members. They are scrolling on the screen. I'll have to add the new ones on that. And on that, guys, Have a great rest of your day. Be kind to yourself, and we'll chat with you tomorrow.